All right, guys, we are live with what do you want me addressed as? I'll make sure your name doesn't get put out there. What's your name gonna be desired as?
I appreciate it. My name is Donish. It's not phonetic, so I don't blame you. Donish, that Donish guy TikTok.
Donish. So this is the Donish guy from TikTok. You see, I'm gonna give you guys the backstory if you guys aren't knowing what's going on right now. I made a video stating the only way I'm friends with a woman is under two conditions. Number one, we were doing business together. Number two, she's bringing value to my life. And the word value was very misconstrued, not understood. So I'm going to give you, everyone an example of value. So let's just say she's a great coworker of mine, right? Why would I hit on her and try to have sex with her when she's a coworker? We bring value to each other. We work together. That would ruin things. Number two, let's just say I was really bad with fashion. She said, Chad, sit down. I got you. Let me give you some value. Number three, you can also say maybe this woman, always mentions your name in rooms where people are successful to get you to the next level, right? Those people, those women, you probably shouldn't make moves on. I don't think that's very smart. Because here's what happens to me, Dinesh, when I was young. Middle school and high school, I would often, when a man sees a woman on the street, in the club, etc., his first thought isn't friendship. It's I want to bang this chick or give her a relationship. It's never this girl make a great friend. So every woman I approached obviously was on those two things. And what happened is I was horrible with women. My thought process was I'm going to give the most effort. I'm going to text the most, call the most, give gifts the most. Usually these things repel women, not bring them in. So eventually I'd be called brother, bro, and they dump on me. Call me for hours talking about guy problems, life problems, and never asked about me. It was always about them. And when I got older, I became more selfish. I said to myself, if a woman isn't bringing me value or no business, I'm not going to be her friend, the friend that gets dumped on for hours a day about how hard life is and her guy issues. And I see a lot of kickback from a lot of people. And I don't mind it because that's how I live my life. If you disagree with it, don't subscribe to it, period. If I saw a video of a girl saying, I'm not friends with men, okay, scroll, don't care. That's your life. That's how you live it. But for a lot of people, they got emotionally involved in that video. So I wanted to say, what made you upset with that video, Dinesh?
I'm glad you asked. So,
Yes.
When I saw your video, when I got tagged in your video, I got tagged in a response to a comment, not necessarily the original video. So I will say I didn't know the context, but just the snippet of what I stitched was you saying that
as a man, you should not go on.
It was to like role reverse, and that's what I commented on originally. Now, with what you said about women who you were interested in, so as a guy too, as a straight man as well, when I see a woman, I do think about do I want to have sex with her? Do I want to be in a relationship with her?
Yes.
But that, I agree with you. The word value is definitely problematic in that sense, because if you're looking at it from those terms of I want to have sex with somebody, this person doesn't want to have sex with me, so why bother? If that's your goal, then no one blames you for not wanting to get. In fact, I support that you don't misrepresent yourself. The reason why I wanted to be on your show is because first, when I stitched you, I just saw that video and I thought this guy he's just toxic. But then I saw another video you did, and you were explaining that what you're trying to do is to get guys to not overly text somebody, not to stalk and obsess over someone. You're basically, what your goal is to like restore dignity to the man, right? And
that's the goal.
I don't disagree with that. What I disagreed with was the way you got there and like the kind of the purpose behind it. And that's what kind of motivated me to come on here, because I feel like you've got a platform that you that is a great platform that you can do so much with too. Not to say that I'm policing your platform, but well, kind of, I guess that's what I'm trying to do. But I feel like you're accidentally doing it in a harmful way, though. And that has to do with, like, say, you're coaching men on looking at a woman on their value of where they rank sexually to you. Yeah, I love the part where you say in a work setting doesn't really, I don't want to ruin my work setting, anything like that. But in general, when you say that, oh, well, if she starts to look at me and say, do you only see us as sex objects? You could just twist that and say, do you look at us as success objects? It feels like you're not addressing the issue that was presented to you. Rather, and this is why I call it gaslighting, you're now trying to flip this back on her, and you're actively promoting doing that. And so that, I guess what I was kind of wondering is, what is the harm in saying like, no, I don't view you as a sex object, but if I'm looking for someone to have sex with, that's where I'm rating you in my mind of whether or not I want to put the effort into this. Now, I also agree really quick. I also agree with you of like, don't put in that type of effort towards somebody who doesn't see you that way, because you're being creepy anyway, right? Like you're wasting your time, you're being creepy, and you fall into that nice guy spot that I did do a little research before asking to be on your show, and I saw that you don't like the nice guy. I don't like the nice guy either. I think the nice guy is toxic and manipulative. I think they just try to get sex by being like as nice as they can, trying to do everything for this person when this person has explicitly stated they're not interested. And I think that person is very manipulative. So I do agree on that. The nice guy is kind of a villain, but I have to worry. I guess my question is, do you see a nice guy the same way? Do you see a nice guy as somebody who's overly affectionate, or somebody who's like gone way past the word no?
Okay, so you asked me two questions. I'm addressing them both. First thing was the sex objects thing. The second thing was nice guy. I'm willing to talk about both. I am all about, on my page, uncomfortable truths. That's why I have so much controversy around my name, my brand. And I'm willing to be I'm like, what's the proper term? I want all the smoke with it. I do, because I feel like these truths need to be said. For example, you agreed. I think you agreed. When you see women, sex, relationship. Isn't that seeing them as sex objects in a way? You don't go, wow, I can't wait to get to know her. I can't wait to be her. It's your first thought. You see a girl with a nice body is, damn, want to get with that chick. So you're almost, our first thought as men is to reproduce with this woman. First thought. So isn't that in a way our first thought of a beautiful woman is sex? Doesn't that make them? Because I understand. I haven't looked into sex objects too much, but if my first thought when I see a beautiful woman is like to give her a child, that's right. Would that make her a sex object in my head, or no? Like, I'm asking you, because
So I would say that's more instinctual, like male.
Yes,
like that's what comes with being a man.
Yes, exactly.
I completely agree with that. I think that where it becomes objecticifying is how you choose to communicate that. Like, if it's somebody telling you about like say a new scientific discovery they found, and you're just like, man, I really want to bang you, like that's kind of objectifying, because you're not even hearing what they have to say. All you can say, like words you can say out of your mouth, is whether or not you want to sex them. You could have those thoughts in your mind. I mean, if you can't help certain thoughts in your mind, it's how the danger comes from, say, when you objectify women, and I'm not saying you specifically, I'm saying when women are objectified, then it becomes less of an issue when they're victims of domestic violence or rape or anything like that, because they're not now objects of sex. And that perception is what the problem is. Not saying that you are trying to do that. My worry is that you may be accidentally doing that.
So I think you said it's something like, when a woman has a crazy invention and she's beautiful, am I thinking about sex? Well, in this point, if using your example, if she's talking to me about an invention, maybe I'm the investor. I'm doing business with this woman. So of course I'm not going to ruin it. So it goes back to like our first primal male we're going to call it biology instinct. We see a beautiful woman is almost sex 9 times out of 10. So if that's most men's first thought when they see a beautiful woman is sex, here's the thing. I don't like to speak on opinion. I like to speak on my experiences and facts
Mhm,
I've looked on the internet. So
mhm.
if my first thought is sex, does that make women sex objects? I don't know. Does it? I'm not a I don't know the answer to that question. But if my first thought is sex, I almost come to conclusion that that's how men may see women on the first glance. Now, when they start to get to know them, see how awesome they are, maybe not. But first glance, we're thinking sex. So does that make them a sex object to you? What do you think?
So I don't disagree. I don't think that it necessarily makes anybody a sex object in that same definition that I was using earlier. I think that it's natural for a man, especially a young man. I assume you're in your 20s, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, yeah, it's natural for you to look at a woman and start thinking about sex. It's natural to scan across a room and like scan across a room of women and just imagine yourself having sex with each one and just go like,
Yeah,
no, yes, actually,
yeah,
no,
exactly. All the time. Yeah.
that stuff. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the natural instinct that a straight male would have. That's some straight, but
Yeah,
I'm not
sure.
saying everyone's like
Sure.
that, but yeah, I can relate. However, what I think I misrepresented with that example was that what I mean is, would non-sexual interactions always have to be sexual? The giving a science whatever
Yeah.
was
Okay.
a bad example, but
Okay.
like literally like someone delivering you a pizza, like someone doing something that's nothing to do with sex, and you just that's all you can bring out, because I'm just meeting this person and the thoughts in my head. The filter between your brain and your mouth has to help you out, right? And like
Yeah.
if all you can say is just like, I want to bang you, then it's then yeah, that's objectifying. But if you could keep that in your head, if you keep that in your head and just maintain, whatever, like you said, in a business relationship or anything else, and just maintain that and put that aside, then no, you're not objectifying. Not at all. But when you're online telling people to when you're online telling people to not waste your time. I'm trying to think of the wording that you used in your video, because it was literally the wording that I wanted to ask you about.
I can play the
Um,
video right now, literally
sure,
word for
sure,
word.
sure.
Hold on, let me go get the video because again, I have no problems with what I've personally no problems with what I said. So let's go to okay. As a man, you shouldn't seek female friends. Now, mind you, I said that in the beginning to trigger, right? Because I knew
Okay.
people would stitch that first 3 or 4 seconds and disregard the rest of the video.
Hmm.
People would comment, so you see women as sex object? No, I have female friends. Well, because you didn't watch the rest of the video. My videos, there's a biology behind it. There's a hook. I got you. No
Right.
female friends. How could he say that? Hook, got you in. Now, you may not listen to a word I say after the fact, because a lot of
Hmm.
women are more emotional first. That's why they come in the comment section saying, you're a pig for having no female friends. Like I said, I did, right? So that's the hook. Then I explain myself. So I could have said this, guys, be friends with women only on these two conditions. Maybe they're
Hmm.
okay. But the wording is to hook you and to get your attention and grab you. And it did. It grabbed hundreds of people's attention because that's what
Sure.
most people did. They stitched the first 3 seconds and cut the rest out.
Well,
Right?
yeah, we both know that's the trick to TikTok. The more
Exactly.
controversial you are, yeah.
Exactly. People. So now also what people are doing is like they're taking like for example, I could say a bunch of things are great about women, and the last part say that they'll take that out, and now I'm the bad guy. Even though the first hour of my conversation was positive, they'll take that last 3 seconds that was negative, and that's how the news operates, right?
Yeah, you're right
So
though.
so
You
the
want
news
to, sorry, if
operates.
I go really quick. If
Yeah.
you're really good, that's exactly why I wanted to be on the show. Is that I felt that you were right on with some of your messaging, and I find one part of it where I go, no, 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 you had a solid message, and this is the part I disagree with. And so I'm sorry. Yes, I agree with that, but go ahead,
Now
play the
I'm
thing.
keep playing. Man, you shouldn't seek female friends. Fellas, let's talk. I believe in female friends under two conditions. You should be fully platonic with a woman you're doing business with. Don't ruin your pockets by being horny, king. Number two, this woman brings you some sort of value to where if you lost it, it would hurt. Let's just say you had no car and this woman offered to take you to work every single day. Why would you hurt your ride situation by being horny? Makes no sense. Other than those two things, there is no reason. Does your mother go out with her guy friends? Does your dad go out with his girlfriends? No, they don't. And please don't be the down bad guy that really likes a girl, but she sees you as her homeboy. So all she does is vent about her problems and guy problems. Don't be that guy. Merch is finally here. So what was the problematic part of the video? Because I'm biased. It was my video.
Sure, of course. I'll start out with the part that I liked because that's then I'll go to where it veered off to me.
Yeah,
so getting past that first line, other than that, you are talking about not don't let being horny ruin your relationship with them. Now that's not incorrect. I don't disagree with that. However, what I do disagree with is kind of the reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
The reason kind of got me off. It was you could only have a friend if, so let's say, okay, this person adds value to your life.
Yes.
They drive you to work, whatever it is. This is a great friend.
Yeah.
And I believe you're saying don't have sex with this person because that'll ruin that value that they have.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. First, I guess there's one thing that immediately comes to my head, which is that that's not necessarily true. I mean, you can have sex with your friends, and you can. I mean, maybe not everyone, but it's not necessarily true for everyone. I've had sex with friends before, and I've still maintained a great friendship with them. When feelings got involved, it got weird.
Yeah, of course.
But I've had friends where that did not happen. But in general, I mean, it's not a terrible rule of thumb to not bang your friends. The problem was that it seemed like that having sex with someone was almost beneath the friendship, whereas you're like, the friendship is a valuable thing, the work relationship's a valuable thing. Don't degrade that with sex. Don't ruin what you have there. Keep that person loyal to you in a way. And if you have sex with them, then they're not going to do whatever it is. The part about going on about guy problems. Now, if there's kind of like two sides I take on that, because if a girl just wants to talk to you about her guy problems and you don't want to hear that, you don't have to, I agree, you don't have to sit there and listen to that. There's no reason, especially if you like her.
Yeah, especially. Exactly. It did. Yeah.
Definitely don't need to do that. And you definitely shouldn't do that. You should have the dignity not to do that. I agree with you. But if a guy wants to, I mean, sure. If somebody wants it and they see no sexual, dude, people have like different, I want to say different libido, different sexual, like,
true.
And like at your age especially, it's a lot higher. Older men probably not as much, but it's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rule of thumb of that. Like, if you like to be there for people, if you do have friends that are women that don't necessarily do anything for you, like they don't do things for you, they don't work with you, but there's somebody you could talk to. I mean, that in itself, I mean, I know you say there should be some sort of value. If the friendship itself is valuable, though, like not even through just taking you places or whatever, but just like this person like knows me, this person like I can talk to, I could be myself around. The relationship's never going to happen, but at least I got someone that knows me and understands me, and if I could open up to, you know, I think that there's value in friendships with any type of person, really. If your only thing is sex, if you're only looking at it as like, I'm just looking to bang as much as I can, and if you can't be a number, you're in my way, then yeah, you are literally objectifying it.
Okay, let's talk about that. So I feel like when we're young, these are a lot of the comments, right? Very like fairy tale, peaches and cream comments. You should be friends with anyone, regardless. We're all humans. We're all like, dude, no. When I was young, 14, 15, had a bunch of friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
You like skateboarding? I like skateboarding too. Let's be friends. It was that easy to be friends, right? You like Star Wars? I like Star Wars too. Let's be friends. It took one thing to be in common to be friends. Mm-hmm. As you grow older, you become the average of your 5 friends. And to me, the difference between friends and acquaintances, I have a bunch of female acquaintances. See them at the bar once a month. See them at the club a couple times a month. We talk, small talk, how's life? That's it. Because we know each other for a long time. So it's like kindergarten. So it's kind of weird to do that sexual stuff. So we kind of keep it acquaintances. Sure. But friends, I consider friends somebody you talk to usually, you know, weekly or bi-weekly. You hang out with them maybe once or twice a month, right? And you spend more intimate time with them. if we're not talking about elevating, getting to the money, how we're going to grow, what's our next move, I don't care to be friends with you. Acquaintances, sure, but friends, like, I don't have any interest to be friends with somebody because I'm right now I'm growing this brand along with my videography company. I'm a wedding videographer. So it's
That's
like,
all.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So it's like I I want to talk about growing because here's the
Mhm.
thing. I separated myself from my high school friends a little bit because all they want to do is party and talk about girls, which is fine every once in a while, but that's our conversation every single time.
Yeah.
I'm not elevating, I'm not growing.
Yeah.
So when the friends who were girls in my past, all they talked about was how hard life was, depression, and guy problems. I'm sorry, I'm not Dr. Phil. Go talk to a therapist.
Okay.
If we're not having a conversation about growth,
Mhm.
then I don't want to be friends with you. And it's so crazy how I live my life affected so many different people. It's like, dude, that's like you don't have to subscribe to it. If you want to be friends with
Yeah.
a girl just because she's just nice, okay, awesome. That's how you do friendships. But for me, it's it's a value base. All my friends are
Mhm.
man. One friend's on his way to the Forbes list. Second friend is got signed by a record label. Third friend
Mhm.
is he motivated me to start this, right? So it's like all these people are adding so much value. It's back and forth. So
Okay.
and a lot of girls I know, like they're just hot. I'd say they're just hot. So it's like they don't really they, they don't really add much to the conversation. Okay, listen, are there girls who can? Absolutely. Have I met them? No. And then if they are my friends, we do business together. So it's like
Mhm.
I just that's just my thing. But also you brought up nice guy. So here's the thing with me with nice guy. Okay. The biggest thing, women oftentimes demonize this guy, but I don't understand fully why. I think I was a nice guy. But here's the issue. It brought me pleasure to provide happiness for the women I liked. I got pleasure from it. I wasn't
Sure.
manipulating them. I liked
Sure.
texting them "Good morning, beautiful." I liked bring. It gave me great joy to bring them a Starbucks to school and see the grin to grin, smile, like cheek to cheek smile on their face. Like, oh, like I love that. That gave me joy.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: when those women decide to go, screw you, I'm gonna hook up with the football player who never talked to me ever. It was like,
Mhm.
damn, like sorry, I did so much and you just threw me to the curb. So happened is my disconnect was I need to stop. Women don't work transactionally, right? You
Mhm.
just because you give, they don't owe you nothing.
True.
Nothing. So the issue was I needed to pull back and only give that to women who were giving to me, right?
Mhm.
So I won't think I was manipulative because I got joy. I got joy from giving to women. I got joy from it. And I realized, wait, if I'm giving 90 and you're only giving 10, this isn't a good relationship. So
Yeah.
I would but here's the thing. Some people will go, oh no, that you no, you were a good guy, not a nice guy. I'm like, okay, I'm scratching my head. Like, how many guys are there? How many guys are there? Right. But for me, nice guy this is I made a video on this and it did pretty well. It got like 15,000 likes. To me, a real nice guy is listen, I know there's games. I know there's guys like defund simping that teach me, ways to navigate, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
go with what I know and do what I do best. I'm not gonna try to
Mhm.
learn a new game or try to be someone else. I'm gonna be just me. And if I fail and fail and fail, I'm gonna suck up and keep on going. Right.
Mhm.
That to me is a real nice guy because here's the thing when girls say you just do it for something in return, dude, every man that has ever taken a woman on a date wants one of two things: a relationship or sex. If
Well,
women
sure.
didn't require to be courted, dude, come over to the house. Why I gotta spend money on a drink for? So women
Right.
men
Right.
understand we have to court women. Not
Right.
all women, but most women would prefer to be
Mhm.
courted before they do any type of sexual favors. We do that for something in return. So I don't
Mhm.
get this whole they do it for something. Yeah, dude. Every date I've been on, I buy you drinks. I give you charm. I flirt with you, make you feel good, and hopefully make you comfortable enough to do the other stuff.
Right.
Every single date I've been on has been a dance to get to the next stage.
Sure.
So I don't get the whole they do it for something in return because every person is doing something for something in return. Now, for example, if I open the door for you, Dinesh,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't say thank you, is it going to hurt a little bit? Yeah. But do you owe me a thank you? No. But am I still going to feel like, damn, like that sucks? I'm still going to feel it. But you don't owe me anything, but I'm still going to feel it. I can't suppress those emotions. So I never got the whole concept of the do for something in return when everyone does something for something in return.
So yeah, okay. I would love to address that.
Yes,
Are you
please.
familiar with the term altruism?
I've heard the term,
Okay.
but maybe in high school learned about it, but now I forget.
Okay. For just for the audience, anyone listening to it, I just want to clarify. Altruism is this idea of there being good deeds that you can do, expecting nothing in return, like truly good deeds that have nothing that gets you,
Like charity.
nothing that values. Yeah, but even with charity, like the argument against altruism,
Okay.
people say altruism doesn't exist
Oh,
because if you say you donate to charity,
yeah.
you do feel good about it, right?
Yeah, you feel good. Yeah.
So that good feeling is still something you benefited from it. And
Oh, okay.
that is the concept where people will argue back and forth about altruism. Like, how on earth are you able to do something nice without getting something in return? Like, do you have to get a miserable outcome out of it? And even if you did, did you still not do something nice? Is that still like no one could know about it now? Otherwise, now you get praised for it. It's like this like endless loop of like trying to be a the selfless person, and I truly believe it's not possible. You will always get something in return. Now, going back to the nice guy thing, the reason I brought that up, the altruism up, is because ultimately everything has something you get in return. Everything.
Yes, everything.
So I do agree with that. But the thing about the nice guy, which I kind of just had a little bit of a
go ahead, yeah, please.
disagreement.
Yeah.
I was like that too in high school too. I was really nice. I'd go overboard, but like I was not very popular with women.
Yeah.
And I would text them all the time, ask them about how their ex-boyfriend's doing, all that. If their boyfriend they're currently with, if they're going to leave him now because they've hurt him so much. I went through all that too, and yeah, to me it was nice because I got to spend time with this person. This person would hug me at school, and I talk to this person all the time. And though it wasn't what I wanted ultimately, like I wanted to be with this person, I was getting little bits of it. And yeah, when the person eventually gets in a relationship, not with that nice guy, you start to feel kind of sour as to like, why did I put all this work in? And it took me a while to like learn what because the way I saw it was, I'm the best person you could have. Like I was doing everything for you. This person wasn't doing it. And it took me a long time to be able to step back from that and look at myself and go like, if it's been clear from the beginning, and I'm sure you could agree on this, if it's been clear from the beginning, why am I'm literally harassing her at this point, being like, look, I'm doing all this stuff, be mine. Like that is very that in itself is manipulative, even if that's not your mindset, because you are doing this exchange that you talked about too. It is becoming that exchange because you are getting that feeling of, hey, I feel good about doing this for her, but then you start getting upset that you're not getting what you want and everything that you want. Then you look at this time that you spent here and you go, yeah, I may have enjoyed those little like things that I was doing for them, but I was doing all of it to get them to have sex with me. And if they asked you like to have sex at any point during this, you would definitely done it. But that's why it's considered like manipulation or gaslighting, is because you're faking a friendship essentially. And that's why I did agree with you on where you said, don't do this. Don't be the nice guy. But I agree with you for a different reason, in that I find that it's manipulative to that person. I do agree with you that it does take away from your own dignity too, and it won't get you your goal. And if you do, you've basically took advantage of that person. Maybe you at one point when they were vulnerable or drunk, you end up hooking up with them. You know that person didn't want to do that with you, and you got them at the right spot. That could be manipulation. Women have it a little different than men in that like they do kind of get their pick, whereas with us, we're just like our brains, the way it's wired, we want to mate with as many people as possible. That's what our brain like. That is anthropology. Our brain wants to breed with as many women and have as many kids as possible. And so so we don't really consider a lot of different things that the women do consider when they look at us and make a judgment like this of like, no, I'm not gonna bang him. No, it's not for me. So what I would say to that is that yeah, that role of being that nice guy shouldn't make you feel like, you know, that I'm worried that like we go into like incel territory when we start this like thought process of like I'm mad at women because if I'm nice to them, they won't give me what I want. I just have to use them and take advantage. I'm not saying this is what you say. I'm just saying this is what I'm worried about getting into. And it dehumanizes them, and dehumanizing and objectifying is what validates things like rape. And that's why and violence. Like, why is it that women are, you know, constantly the victims of murders, constantly the victims of rape? I mean, men are too, but the rate, you know, majority of it is perpetrators a man, the victims the woman. And that's not to say that every single horny guy is going to go kill people, but that kind of like they owe me. I did enough nice things. I put in the work. That will eventually lead to it. Could lead to that.
Yes. So that's why I feel like my page is important, because I'm telling guys, listen, you put in the effort, you're getting back. So when I was you know, in high school, I thought the best way to win a woman over is just show her the most effort. You show the most effort, you should win. It should be like a rat race. Who puts in the most effort for the woman, right? Because that's how men would operate. If this girl's coming to my house and cooking and cleaning and providing value, she wins of the girl that just comes over and
Right.
has sex. So it's like, that's how my brain works. Whoever puts in the
Right.
most effort should win. That's how it should work. But women, it's not how it works with women. That was the disconnect. I was thinking women should think like a man. They
Right.
don't.
You're thinking, yeah.
They don't think like a man, right?
Right.
They go for the man who is who they desire the most. And
Mhm.
if you're too available and giving too much, because especially younger women like 17, 18, those younger women almost desire somewhat of a chase. And if you're
Mm.
giving them zero chase at all, they kind of get bored of you. And you see it all the freaking time. Guy gets in the world. She's like this. Guy that makes me chase him is like, and like they're like doing a dance. Like, girls tell you all the time, especially younger women, what they want. So I feel like I made a video saying, listen, you may hate on my page. Not saying you, but I'm saying that people may hate on my page, but I'm teaching men to pull back. She bails on you, pull back. If she's not letting you have sex with a third or fourth date, pull back. Like, stop being so needy. Stop being like, stop catcalling. Stop, like, I'm pulling men back, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole brand, bro. Come on, come here. Like, stop. Like, you're doing too
Yeah.
much. Stop calling
Yeah.
so much. Stop texting so much. She doesn't owe you shit. Come on, come over here. Stop it. It's almost like they're a dog seeing another dog and they're like barking and running. I'm like this, pulling them back. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people may not see it that way, but that's the goal. And I'm getting the DMs from men and the proof is in the pudding. So I feel like to me, only people who are incels are people that actually are okay. So I've looked up incels as when I was called that back in January, when I was like actually like I think the video I posted had like 1 million views in like a day. So it's that crazy. The one I have now that
Okay.
you react to has only had 80,000 views. So this is
Right.
only 1
Right.
million.
Right.
So I looked up incels. These people legit preach violence against women.
Yeah.
They don't even like interact with, like, they're like completely cut off from them, like walking away, like MGTOW, walking away from, like, that's, dude, I love women so much that I teach men how to be happier with them. Right. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think now here's another topic, because I feel like we did a good job of addressing both topics. Do you consider yourself a male feminist or no?
The way I perceive it is that everyone's a feminist unless they're not. Meaning that if the only person that's not a feminist is someone who doesn't believe that men and women should be equal, and that's I don't see it any further than that. That is literally how I see it.
Do you
so
think
I would say,
sorry, go on. I want to cut you off.
So I know. So I'd say yes. I think that
Okay.
I think that everyone should be considered a feminist.
Okay. Do you think that men and women are completely equal, or you feel like there's differences?
There's obviously differences between men and women.
Okay.
There's so many, but it wouldn't even just stop at the categories of men and women. I mean, there's so many different subcategories you put people into. And I mean too, that goes with asexual, intersex, all that shit too. But yeah, I think that to answer your question, there are differences between men and women. Absolutely.
Okay. Reason why I feel like men and women are different is because we're judged on different things. Now, people may go, oh, patriarchy, this and this.
Society.
Listen, since the day of time, right? But now things are starting to switch and fade off because of, I believe, because of feminism, right? Men were judged on, we're not, but this is my stance. Men aren't provided, we weren't born with value. As a man, you must become, right?
Mhm.
I made a video saying most women would not marry a man who makes $20,000 a year because that man can barely take care of himself. If you know, I see a car seat, you're a father, right?
Yep.
Son, you have a son or daughter?
I have a son.
Okay. If you had a daughter and the man was great, but he made $20,000 a year, you probably wouldn't be so happy to give her hand off in marriage to a man that's not doing much of his life. You may do it,
I
but
would
you'd be
definitely
like,
encourage. Sorry, I would definitely encourage him. Like I'd want him to, do better. Obviously, yeah.
Exactly, right? So it's like, but here's the thing: the woman doesn't have to make much money because it's most men marry down, while most women marry up, right? So as a man, you must become, right? So if it's the man, since you're a man, you must become, and a woman, you're kind of born with value. It's almost like it's almost like we're in a competition, but we're being judged on different things. It wouldn't be a fair
Sure.
competition. It's not a fair competition, right? I have to become while woman just has value, especially if she's beautiful. Oh my, you already know how that goes. A beautiful woman
Right.
versus an average man. So if like those are some big differences. Also, big difference is how we think, right? Men tend to be, not saying all, be more logical, while women tend to be more emotional. If you don't believe me, look at my comment section. So I feel like they're different, right? So that's one thing I'll say. Another thing about feminism, do you think modern feminism is good or bad for women? Modern, like today's time.
Okay, so just to address everything, where to start? So I've got a lot to say about that specifically.
Yes,
Now,
please.
I think that let's start at
Value. Men must become, women are.
Okay, so first, there are a lot of things that women are expected to do that are different.
Yes, they are.
They aren't necessarily born with it. They like if they have a little bit of like too much flab, or if they are not doing their makeup correctly, whatever, they're competing with each other to be hot. While
Yes.
we are competing heavily with each other as well too.
Yes.
And success being one of those things because society pressures men
We
to
do.
be the breadwinner
We do.
and not
Yep.
not the women, right?
Exactly. Correct.
I do agree with that. But all of these things about society, that pressure, especially that a man has to endure, and I'm not speaking on women just because I'm not saying that they don't experience things, but things that men specifically have to endure, the pressure and the stoicism where we can't really show emotion, we got to bottle it up, all of that stuff that society pushes on us, like from the day we're born. That's the issue with patriarchy that that feminists usually will have, is that not only does that affect women, that also affects men too. And whenever I've learned about it, it's always been included as a package deal of like this feminism benefits men, and the pressure society puts on us is a result of the patriarchy, and the patriarchy being who's in government, political, running companies, stuff like that, literally making all the rules, making everything. What am I trying to say? Getting the benefits that to men faster than to women, and it's more efficient for men than it is for women. And that's talking about it on a business scale. And then there's that pressure too, that pressure to succeed. That like you also have to do that because as a man, that's how you're not going to be valuable unless you are able to be successful, unless you're able to, you're a project, right? You work on yourself and you make yourself valuable. If you don't, why would another person value you? That's kind of how I see it too.
Yeah,
and I think women will see that, and that some women will see that in some way too, but that's translated different. Like may not be specifically what we're doing, or that the society pressures us to do. Now, you said about men being more logical, women being more emotional.
Not
I
always,
think
but yeah.
true, but like I don't think that I don't think that's correct. And the reason why is because I feel like that's kind of skewed by the whole idea of stoicism, where we're not really allowed to show emotion. And
It's go on.
so by bottling that up, I find that men tend to blow up more emotionally, whereas women, it may seem just emotional to you, but it is very healthy that they're able to express with emotion. And on for men, like you hear stuff like this all the time, like facts not feelings, or like so are you triggered, or are you snowflake? Like it is literally pressuring us to do not show emotion, do not get upset over this, do not start like yelling over this. Don't, because once you lose your cool, you've lost or whatever, and then you bottle that up, and then it's not manly to go to a therapist, and so in some way or another you're going to blow up later. So I do like that your content is trying to pull men back. I do like that your content is trying to explain to men to follow the signs that you see too from women, that are, if they're not interested, stop doing this. You're making a fool of yourself. I do like those things. It's these little details that there's a reason, literally the reason why I wanted to come on your show, because I wanted to talk about these little things, because I feel like I think the thing you're doing has value. I think that you specifically don't want to be giving the messages that people are accusing you of. And if you're interested in avoiding that, I mean, literally, I'm happy to explain that, because I'm not trying to shut your whole thing down. If you've looked at my page, whenever I kind of go after someone, I go after them really hard, and then it becomes a big thing, and then those videos are usually what goes viral for me, because it starts controversy. But usually I go after like people who do horrible things, abusers and stuff, like literal physical abusers of children, of women, other things like that. But you didn't fall into that category, so I didn't. So it was kind of a weird kind of thing for me to like be between like calling people out for child abuse, suddenly be like, hey man, I think your content's just a little off. Like, though it is like trying to like, one up on someone, or dunk on them, whatever it might be, it was not appropriate for that. And I thought it'd be more appropriate for this. Because I think you and I are this close to agreeing on a lot of things. And I think that you would easily be able to fall into a feminist category, except that I believe your perception of feminism is very different than what I think it is.
So
you asked me if modern feminism is good for women, right?
That's correct. Now, I don't think it is, but you say it's, to be honest, I think it benefits more men than women.
Modern feminism?
Yes.
I think it benefits. I think it benefits both. I think it's intended to.
Okay, so I'm gonna write down some things. Like I make sure I came with facts and not feelings for this
I appreciate
talk.
it.
Yeah, of course. So when I make these videos, so for example, I made my women see men as success objects videos. The top comment: we don't need men.
Right.
I don't really see men in comments saying we don't need women. I don't see it very often. If it has, I just don't see it, because masculinity and femininity is the perfect balance since the beginning of time. Like we need each other. We're much better together than we are apart, right? So that whole, I think what feminism done, we don't need men, and that's horrible. Your wife or your girlfriend, she needs you. You guys are a team. So the whole we don't need men, I think that came from feminism. Next thing, I feel like modern day feminism has push women to be these boss babes. Go get your bread. Go do what a man does. Go work 40, 50 hours a week. Well, guess what? Now men are like, okay, you have money? Okay, let's go 50-50. So now men are stepping away from being a provider because women are making money too. So men go, oh, wait, you got money? Let's go 50-50. Why am I paying the bills? Screw this traditional stuff. You pay half the rent. I pay half the rent. And to me, I want to keep my woman in her most feminine state. And that's by protecting and providing for her. Because when she starts paying all the bills with you, she feels like, why cook for you? You can cook too. Why clean for you? You can clean too. Why do things of service for you? You can do things for me too. We're equals. We both work 40, 50 hours a week. So my goal is just to grind, and be a breadwinner to write my, hey, baby, what you like, it's a perfect scenario. You have an online boutique you run from home, right? So you can take care of to the home and the kids while working, while I go out there and bring majority of the bread home. So another thing too is it made women more promiscuous. Again, benefits men. There's I watched an interview and a guy in like the 80s, in the 80s, he was saying things like, yo, like when feminism first came out and girls were saying, oh, we don't, and promiscuity was like being promoted. It's like, hell yeah, I don't have to give girls commitment. I don't have to take girls on dates. They'll just sleep with me. Like, so I think it's all benefiting men and not benefiting women. And that's my biggest problem with feminism, modern day feminism.
Oh, well, I want to do each one by one, but there's a couple. Could you tell me what
So first is we don't need men, which is my biggest problem.
We don't even. So that's just parroting the same philosophy, of course. You hear from that. You said you don't hear from guys say we don't need women. Bitches ain't shit. Like bitches ain't nothing but hoes and tricks. You don't hear stuff like that, because I've heard guys say like bros are for hoes. I've heard that quite a ton. Those slogans are for like an attempt to self empower. I don't see that as a result. I personally don't see that as a result of feminism. I don't really see it. I see how it could be relevant though, in that like women may say that I don't need men in the sense that like my value is not based on another person. I could find value myself, or that maybe there's a woman that doesn't. I mean, women are an entire sex. There are different things all of them desire. Of course, we're generalizing, but there could be some that don't genuinely, and I'm not talking about lesbian, but genuinely don't want to be in a relationship ever, and just like you want to be successful, want to do all that stuff. The other thing that you'd mentioned was the masculine and femininity. You said from the beginning of time we've had this, but masculinity and femininity are defined differently through time and in different like cultures, and even in like different households. Like, for example, I'm from Iran. My family's from Iran, and over there, like pink is not a feminine color. It is also not considered feminine for like a guy to put his arm around another guy while they're walking down the street. My cousin tried to do that to me when he came here, but his arm around me, like, what are you doing, dude? Stop it. Get your hand off me. And like, cause I'm not used to that. And to me, I was just like, that's not a thing guys do out here. But like the point I'm making is that like, because it's defined so differently in different places. And then throughout time, like say when this country was first founded, you have guys wearing wigs, makeup, and these full dresses. And now guys, masculinity says, don't do that. There are certain things that seem to be so inconsistent that it just leads me to believe that it is a social construct, in that, again, what we were talking about, the patriarchy and feminism, and all seems to be society reacting to society. And so these things that are tangibly, like not tangible, but do affect our lives, at the same time, don't really have a solid definition and don't really have a solid methodology to it that it affects us. This thing about women wanting to also work and stuff like that and then pay half the rent, dude, there's a lot. Some people might be cool with that. Some people may want the way you have it, the way you explained it, where I want to be the breadwinner and I want you to stay at home, take care of stuff, and cook. And if your partner agrees with that, then I don't see the problem. If that's what if you're with a girl and she's like, I'm stay home, I'm going to make sure I got a meal, take care of kids, you go work, there's no problem. But I think feminism steps in the sense of like, if a woman doesn't want that role, if she does want to work, she does want to do 50-50, she does want that guy to cook, she shouldn't be assigned. I mean, we shouldn't just assign that only role to her, is that no, you get in the kitchen and you do this. Because personally, I love to cook. And I'm a pretty good cook, to be quite honest. Do I cook every night? No. Does my wife work? Yeah, she works too. I own my own business. I run my own business. I help with the kids too. The way we have it at 50-50, it is much easier. Now, I always say I do make more than her, but that doesn't really change anything. If, say, I lost my job or she lost her job or whatever, like the other person will pick up, and then we'll kind of like switch roles just to be like what works the best. We're not really living in a economy that can like allow for just like one person to work a normal day job, customer service, or like at McDonald's or something, while the other person stays home. You got to have a good job. And and especially you're still in Orange County. It's okay to say that, right?
It's fine.
I'm from there too. I'm actually from Irvine. So like
down the street.
Yeah, so I know it's not a cheap place to live, and especially if you want like a big property, like it's expensive. My parents' house sold for $1 million, or $1.5 million there. So like it's expensive. So you want to go live there, you want to have the good life, like yeah, you really got to grind. If your priority is to have that like life and you can't get there financially, and your wife is, or your girlfriend or whatever, she is providing, and you guys don't have kids or whatever, I don't see the issue with, if it's something you guys like, I don't see the issue with that. And I don't see the issue with feminism promoting that. But that doesn't mean that every single woman wants it. I've met plenty of women who don't want that, who want the scenario where you work, I'll stay home. Like, I like that deal. There's a funny comedian, I don't know if you've heard of Ali Wong, it's on Netflix. She talks about like how she's joking, but she's talking about how she's angry at feminism because she goes like, I just wanted to stay home. I don't want to work. Stop telling guys that we could work. I don't want to do it. Stop it. Stop it. We had it easy. But like, that's kind of her joke. Her whole thing is that like, is that feminism is showing guys that we can do these things too. But again, it was a joke. So I think that you're mixing personal preference though with what with this expectation. Like you used a lot of strong words when you said I want my wife to be as feminine as, you know.
Yes,
sorry, I'm
feminine.
quoting you.
Put her in her most feminine state. Yes.
It was feminine state. That's saying that, expressing what you want for her. Now, I don't want to misunderstand that. You're saying you want her to want that as well.
That's right. what I would like. Yes. And
that's what people get lost, and yeah. That's what I think triggers people because I talking to you a little bit, I get that's what you're saying, but I could also get how if I just heard that line is that you want her to only live the way you allow.
Is this a question?
No, I'm saying, does that make sense of how like that it could sound that way?
Listen, you know the game of telephone where as a kids you say something and the time it gets to the end of the line it's something else. Listen, there's been like, again, I'm not speaking on emotion. I'm not saying this is how I feel. Okay. I've read statistics. Do you know why women leave men in divorce? The number one reason?
Financial.
Money. So it's like, dude, you got to make money, right? And also I watch a podcast every week. They bring women on. They ask them about, because they start off being very PC, which is women love to be. Oh yeah, I took care of my man. Or with him now? No, I broke up with him. Like, so it's like, they'll say, oh, I'll take care of a man. I'll go 50-50. Or with him now? No. Mm-hmm. So it's like my mom. My dad was making hella money. She was in her feminine state. The second my dad lost half the money, she started paying bills, arguments started happening. Like, these are statistics in books. Like, you can look things up. Like, I even looked up what masculinity is. I think you mentioned cultural differences. Like, you're right. When you go to different places, masculinity is a bit different, but I feel like they all have their core values. In Iran, are you kidding me, bro? Like, the man, like the woman, like, dude, come on. You know the man in the household is a breadwinner though, and the woman's like it's very conservative in Iran. I'm surprised.
Sure, but it is. But also, you have to know, Iran specifically became a conservative Islamic state about 30 years ago. Before that, it was actually more free than America is now. It was very.
It was different. European. It was very European. So someone took over.
There was like a switch. Exactly. Yeah. But when it comes to that, and it comes to statistics on Iran, and I just have this in my head because I talk about Iran so often. There are more female graduates of universities there.
Oh yeah,
than there are male.
Women are more educated than men. Yes, absolutely, that's a fact.
Okay, but also, you'd have a lot of male breadwinners in that polygamy is not illegal there. So like, yeah, you can do that. You can have more control as far as taking advantage of patriarchy. Mm-hmm. But the thing is about masculinity that I also wanted to mention was that not all masculinity is bad. And I never said that. And I think that anybody who does think that is absolutely wrong. I don't think masculinity is inherently bad.
I don't think I said you said masculinity is a bad
you
thing.
didn't.
No. Okay,
You
go
didn't.
on.
You didn't. But I've had people in my comment section say that before too, where they say, "What's wrong with masculinity?" Nothing's wrong with masculinity. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that when it gets to the point of violence, when it gets to the point of like hurting people, when it gets to the point when it's gone too far, it becomes toxic, and that's where that comes from. When you're using that to emotionally or physically or mentally abuse someone, yeah, that's toxic.
Go on. Sorry.
No. I'll stop there. That's good.
Okay, good. So I really don't understand toxic masculinity. I've looked it up, tried to listen to women talk about it, men talk about it. And I feel like if an intruder were to break into a home and there's two couples, I think the toxically masculine man is going to be the one to get the hell up and go downstairs and face that fear of whoever's downstairs in their home trying to hurt their family. I feel like the more toxically masculine man would be that. I feel like the more toxically masculine man stormed the beaches of Normandy, World War II, right? Those are your strongest.
I wouldn't say toxic. I would say masculine. I wouldn't say toxic. I don't think that's toxic.
But I feel like what happens is people label toxically masculine men who are like aggressive. So basically, okay, before we go on, what is your definition of the toxic masculinity? Like what's your definition of it?
Toxic masculinity is when you take certain traits from masculinity or certain traits that men inherently, instinctually have.
I'll give you an example. I wrote them down. Strength, courage, independence, leadership, assertiveness.
Yes. And any of those things taken too far to their extreme becomes toxic. And those done usually by pressures from society, including things like stoicism is a toxic one. Stoicism is derived from masculinity, but it's a toxic form of it where you do not express emotion. That is so harmful to a person. It could lead to suicide. It could lead to horrible things. So to me, the definition is beyond what you just described and going into a more violent, going into a more harmful place. For example, someone like, say, The Rock or Mr. Rogers, these two are very different guys, but they're both masculine. I mean, being a strong leader at the same time, he's not afraid. The Rock is not afraid to take pictures playing with his daughter. He has the emotional capacity to tell his daughter that he loves her and then put it on the internet too. That's not toxic to me. That's masculine. That's not toxic. Mr. Rogers, he's not a big, strong, WWE bodybuilder, but he's teaching children how to interact with each other. He's compassionate. He teaches the importance of caring for one another. And that, in a sense, is a protector as well. And to me, that's masculine as well. And it's non-toxic. I think masculinity is man's nature, but I think it's the nature of man. But I think that the toxic part of it is a part that I think you and I and everyone else would agree is a part where it just goes too far to an extreme. Gotcha. That's my opinion.
I feel like the issue with the term toxic masculinity, and again, it varies person to person. People interpret it wrong. Some people go, is my masculinity toxic? Then they start to push, in my opinion, maybe push more into their feminine, right? Push more into so it's like some men don't understand what that word means. I did my best to look it up as much as possible and understand it. Basically, it's the extreme of too much strength, too much courage, too much independence, too much leadership, and too much assertiveness. I guess that's what it is, overdoing of your masculinity, I guess.
Yeah, but too much strength, you need to prove it by hitting someone. You don't need to prove your strength that way,
Got you. I feel like I made a video on this, 2 videos actually. First one I made about this whole masculinity thing is I encourage men to vent to their friends, as in their homeboys. Okay.
Very good.
Now I didn't say women, because I'm gonna give you. I feel like the reason why I didn't say women to as to vent to is because I've read this again, statistics. I've read podcasts, women come out their mouth. So I've heard, my personal DMs when they got emotional and told their insecurities to their women, their the girlfriends, etc. The first argument they had, oh, that's why your daddy left you. The second The second they had an opportunity to use that insecurity back, to throw it back, they did. So men almost regretted it. The second they got in an argument with the girl like they liked, or their girlfriend, their wife, they got vulnerable. They used that vulnerability against them, right? So also, and here's another thing: the most common question guys like me get is, "Who hurt you?" And I made a video. If I told you who hurt me, would you help me? No, you wouldn't. Let me give you an example. Hey, TikTok, the reason why I am is I got cheated on 3 different times. This whole girl will comment back. Oh, got cheated on 3 times. Now you hate women? Grow up. That's how they handle it. That's how 9 or 8 out of 10 women handle me opening up about what happened to me. They use it right against me. So it's like when they ask who hurt you, they don't care. They just want to use it against you, and they will. I've seen it happen all the time. And people will assume that too in the comment section. This guy got his heart broken 5 times. Now he hates girls. Grow up. Like that's how a lot of women are. Now, sorry, that's how some women can be. Right. So it's like the second you open up about your pain and what hurts, they use that against you and then flip it as to, oh, you're weak because this happened to you. And now you act in this way. So that's why with men, I never had any of my guy friends throw back an insecurity at me when we argue. We tend to keep it on what's going on. If we're talking about, hey, bro, why'd you steal my pencil? Well, that's where your dad left you. Like, I've never had my guy friends do that to me. Right. I've had girls do that to me because they're thinking with emotion, not with the logic. So that's why I told men to open up. So it's like when men open up, sometimes it's negative. What do you think?
I think that anyone should be opening up to a therapist, someone who's licensed and knows what they're doing, because I think everyone gives bad advice, to be honest.
Yeah, sure,
even when my friends like hit me up about like heavy things, you said something. Did your dad actually leave, or is that something you're just saying for the
example? No, it's just an example.
Okay. Because my dad passed away, and not too long ago, and so I'll get people who go like, "Hey, my dad just passed away, or my parent passed away too," and I'd be like, "Dude, therapy. That's what'll help you." Like, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that role. I know I can't do that. So my advice is to go to therapy, but opening up to your friends is also a great idea too, as well. Your guy friends, sure. Girlfriends, I don't see. I haven't had the issue that you're saying.
Good.
But I'm not going to invalidate what you're saying. I'm trying to speak honest still. But like, if you are saying, like, if they're saying who hurt you, and you say, well, you're not going to help me, what you're saying too is, yeah, someone did hurt me. You're right, and you don't want to share that because that'll be used against you. But if they were right about that, and then they say, well, this is why this is happening, they may be being like shitty about it because they're mad at you. But aren't they ultimately like, couldn't they ultimately be giving you the correct answer? Like, if your guy friend doesn't touch on that, is maybe because he's trying to consider your feelings rather than the facts. Like I could see it from that way as well, where it's like we're just sugarcoating it. Like, I wouldn't, if I was in high school and one of my guy friends told me about any sort of emotional problem, I would definitely tell him to just man up. Because I was a lot more of what I would consider toxic myself. Back in high school, I was more like that, and so I would have definitely just been like, "Why are you telling me this? Just man up. We all have problems."
To your friends, like your close friends.
To my guy friends, yeah. What I'm telling you is I'm not proud of like how I acted in high school. I'm not saying that I was a person that anybody should be like, to be quite honest. I thought back then, I thought it was like, we all like listen to these rules of how to like get a woman and stuff, and we try these everything. And one of the things I thought was being mean to women was the only way to get their attention, because I see mean guys get girls. And so I'd try to be mean, and then and it didn't work either. The point was like, I was just an asshole. Like, no matter, even if whether it was nice or not, like, I was an asshole. I didn't know how to talk to women. But getting back to it, there's so much generalizing and so much personal experience that you bring up that it's I don't see how you can apply that to everyone. But at the same time, I want to say I get what you're saying, but only in the sense of, I feel like your experience on it is limited. Maybe the girls you're referring to are like we don't, these people that leave us comments, some of them could be like 12, 13. Some of them could be just guys pretending to be girls, just trying to piss us off because they hate us. I get trolls all the time too, and they say horrible, nasty shit to me too. I've had, I don't even want to get into it too much, but like I've had people like post pictures of my family and
They'll go
talk
there.
shit on it. Like
There's
they will
no,
get,
yeah.
they will go, yeah, they will go places when they don't like you. Um, and uh, and so yeah, I think that that's just the vitriol of TikTok itself. It's a pretty, the app is pretty toxic. No matter who you are, it allows you to get so much hate. I've had people stitch me, duet me, say horrible things, say racist things, and then TikTok will go, no, it's fine. It doesn't violate anything. And then I post like a joke, a literal joke about a person who I'm friends with who comments and laughs at it, and they'll say it's harassment. So like I think that because now too, like you've got a you and I both have a similar sized platform on TikTok, at least. I'm nothing on YouTube, but I think that you and I both experience similar things in that, like what you said about the controversy has to hook people in. I know that too. I know I have to say something to piss people off, or at least to get them to argue, because it's the back and forth that helps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I've also been a victim of my own personal insecurities and my own personal things thrown in my face in an attempt to try to hurt me. I don't think that's necessarily man or woman or anything like that. I think that that's just people trying to hurt us because they don't like us.
Absolutely. So I think again that was great. I love listening to that. I feel like we veered a bit off topic.
Thank you.
Of course, man. So my thing was this, guys. At least vent to your homeboys. But you said you weren't the best homeboy. You told your guys in high school to man up. You said you weren't very proud of that. Whatever.
No,
But for me,
I was not a good friend.
yeah, exactly. For me, I encourage it, and it's funny, man. Like whenever me and my homeboys like get a little heartbreak, like I say a girl, it's not a girlfriend, but I say a girl we were feeling and for 3 or 4 months, and almost like a situationship that failed. Whatever. Man, I call my homeboys first. Man, believe what this girl did. Oh, what happened, bro? Like we're very cool with talking it out. Yeah. And I all my friends were cool with talking it out. And it's just, you could say this is another like patriarchy thing, but okay. What time do you think masculinity was at its peak? Or was it never at its peak? Because
I don't understand the question really, because like
I can continue. Okay, so for example, so masculinity and femininity. At what point was masculinity like this is what the model man should be? Because I feel like the feminist movement, or even misandrist movement, whatever movement you want to be a part of, whatever, I feel like they're pushing men. Okay. Do you remember Britney Spears? You know who she is, right? You know the music video Toxic?
Yeah.
I think she was on a plane, like a bra, like that was edgy.
It's a hot video, yeah.
That was sort of an edgy, like bra. Like, she was like a bra, and like like stuff that's kind of normalized now. Did you see the Cardi B performance with Meg Thee Stallion? Like borderline pornography on the screen.
They're scissoring on stage, yeah.
So what I'm saying is this. This is why I think feminism is a bit dangerous to men. The goalpost keeps being pushed a little bit. You can wear a dress. You can paint your nails pink. You can cry you want. Eventually, the goalpost may go so far that you have now. That's why I think China's having a masculinity crisis, and they're teaching men how to be men again, or something like that in China, right? So it's like, I feel like when you push the goalpost too much, like I'm not sure how you're saying on this. I don't want to go in too much into it, but like they're now schools teaching kids how to be like transgender, and like it's just like it's gone too far because the goalpost keeps being pushed a little bit. So I'm trying to stop the goalpost. Like, no, men do not need to be wearing dresses. If that's what you want to do it. But like, don't encourage men to put on a dress for, don't encourage men. It's just, you see where I'm going with this. The goalpost is being pushed too far. I feel like one day it may be all over here. And where did masculinity go? Well, because y'all killed it.
So So yeah, so it's again the wording. Like with you, I always fall back on the wording of how you
Yes.
say it, because I don't want to misunderstand. But it's this thing of like, okay, you could do your nails like this, you could do this like this
Dress, wear a
until they,
dress.
yeah, until they get to a point of too far, is what you
Too
said.
far. Exactly.
So my question is, what is too far to you, like no more masculinity? Because the way I see too far is that like people don't need to worry about what others think. If they wanted to wear the dress, if they wanted to put on nails or whatever the hell they want to do, um wouldn't too far be like that they just don't need to ask permission anymore, like
I
that they could just do what they want?
I
Because
think
there
too.
are guys that enjoy being masculine. For example, like um I enjoy I enjoy being masculine. I like that. I mean, I choose to have a beard. I choose to dress the way that I do. I enjoy this. I wouldn't enjoy dressing in a dress. It's not, I don't desire to
On
put on
heels and
nails. I don't desire that. It's not a sense of like it's not a sense of me being more ideal masculine, although, which is funny, some people that I do argue masculinity with will, and not yourself, but like other people would be usually someone younger, shorter than me with a higher voice, can't grow a beard yet. And I'm like, dude, I meet this definition better than you. And I'm telling you, this is not what masculinity is. Masculinity is strength and all this stuff we talked about for confidence. Um, so anyway, getting back to the point,
the goalpost going too far.
the goal, I don't see that as the goalpost going to far. I see it as these restrictions. May even be someone like yourself who says you don't do this if it's what people want to do. I mean, as it is now, like um masculinity is pressured on us to be specific ways. Now you and I are not bothered by the way we're expected to dress, with whatever, the way we're expected to do our beard or whatever. We're fine. We enjoy it. But if someone doesn't, they should have full access to being how they want to be. As far as teaching people how to be transgender, I don't know. I haven't heard or know anything of that, so I can't really
That's
speak
in
on that.
schools. Yeah, they're pushing in like gay studies and stuff like that, like how to
To learn about them.
transgenderism.
Oh,
Yes.
I heard about. Okay, so I heard about transgender studies in like the Middle East, and they were teaching that to places that had this very high concentration of like murders towards like the LGBTQ community. So they wanted to educate them so that they stopped. So they see them as human, basically. They're basically trying to teach them to see them as. I know that's in the Middle East. I don't know what you're talking about. China could be different, but I know that in Pakistan, for example, that's where I heard about it happening. Is that they literally have to teach them, like, please stop killing these people. They can't help themselves.
Got you. Yeah. So basically, it's happening in a couple of schools where they're
I'll look into it.
they're teaching different schools, and to me, I just feel like a lot of men are very impressionable, especially young, and when they're girls, like for example, there's a lot of popular, I would call them trend-setting, super leftist pages. For
Okay.
example, did you hear about the whole super straight thing?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I almost give her free clout. She's a African American woman that said if you're a man and you wouldn't marry, date, have sex with a transgender woman, then you're a transphobic person, right?
Okay.
This started a movement where men are like, damn, like I'm being bullied into
Mm.
dating a trans woman. If I don't want to do it, I'm like a transphobic. So some men will basically, due to peer pressure, drop who they are to apply to society. So the goalpost is saying, some women may say this: your masculinity is toxic. You need to be this. You need to be more mindful of women. You need to do this. You need to do that. Some men may actually listen to that and start wearing the dress, wearing the pink nails, not because they want to, is because they're feeling peer pressured into doing it. Now, I would never be peer pressured into doing that, but there are men who are. That's what I'm saying. Like some men may put the dress on by choice, and some men may do it by they're being kind of peer pressured by these, I'd say super leftist pages that are pushing these things onto people. So I'm not necessarily worried about the guy that does it because he wants to. I'm not worried about the guy that does it because of peer pressure.
I find it hard to believe that a guy would do it under peer pressure. I haven't. I'm just speaking from
Yeah.
my own mind. I don't know this, but I find that really hard to believe, just because like we're in a society now where it's like, especially subject of transgender. transgender is the most like the highest rate of suicide amongst all other minority groups.
Yeah.
And I can't help but to like wonder, why would someone young make the decision of, you know what, I'm not really doing well with girls, I'm not really, you know, why don't I just invite more hatred and more violence in my life by just starting to wear a dress and like get more people to bully me? I think this will be the best thing I could do. I find that so hard to believe someone would actually want to do that. I think
Do
white
what?
people
Be trans or wear a dress because they're peer pressured?
wear a dress because they're peer pressured.
Okay,
I
go
feel
on.
I feel like being trans is not something that we is that, by the way, if somebody wants to explore, like I don't see the issue in that either. I don't see it being forced on people, but I don't see the issue in people looking into it if that's what they are interested in or wanted to see if that's what they like, because hell, they're forced to act masculine for a majority of their life, and if they're not, if they are more feminine, or if they feel that they are not of male or female sex or whatever, dude, fucking express yourself however you want to. I don't see a effort to transify or feminize all men. I don't perceive that the way you do.
Got you. So I feel like if a man can be or a woman can be peer pressured into smoking weed, to drink, to do bad things, why can't they be peer pressured to wear a dress and date trans women when they don't really want to? They're doing it to please the masses.
So, but you said yourself, I can't peer pressure you into wearing a dress, could I?
No, because I'm very deep rooted in my thoughts, in my opinions. But there's some men out there who are very malleable. Where, for example, most men don't have the balls to say what I say on TikTok because they can't handle the smoke and all the negativity. I can't.
Okay.
But some men, you know what? If someone's calling me transphobic because I only date trans women, I guess I'll start swiping right on trans women and dating them just to prove a point that I'm not transphobic.
That's so they'll put a penis in their mouth because they're like, I want to prove this point.
Yeah.
I think that person was already interested in that. Because I'll be okay. So when I saw Super Straight, to me, it was just a way of somebody to, it didn't seem like someone saying I wouldn't just date anyone who's transgender. To me, it just seemed like, hey, by the way, I don't know what you're doing today. I just want to let you know I hate trans people. Because it kind of felt that way to me, because you don't need to date trans women if you don't like that. You don't have to.
They're being called transphobic though, that they don't.
See, I don't think that's transphobic. This is the part that frustrated me, is that you can have personal preference. You can maybe you only like blonde girls. Maybe you only like people who are tomboys. Like, hey, you can have personal preference. There's nothing wrong with that. It's making it your identity is the thing that could cause. Sorry, it's not. Okay. Is the thing that causes more problems. Like, for example, maybe I'm only into like maybe I'm the type of person that won't date other I won't date black people. Let's say I won't date black people, and that's my personal preference. But if I go online and I just say like I would never date a black person, just so you guys know, I'm straight, but I'm making this new category where like I'm just a straight guy that only dates white people, no black people. I will not. You can't force me to do that. And they go, well, you're being kind of racist. Well, how? That's my preference. Like, why are you announcing that to the world? Like, why are you trying to? I don't get what your movement is trying to do. You do your personal preference. That's fine. But no, I want to wear this as a badge. I do not date black. Like, and I would date a black person. I'm just giving you an example. But do you see how, like, as especially like a trans person or a person who is a trans woman who is in the highest group of suicide rates? Why do this? Why start this movement? Why push this idea? I don't think that people should be dating a trans woman if they don't want to. I think that that's weird, but also that's it's weird for the both of them, because they're both in a relationship they don't want to be in. I mean, a person, even a trans woman, wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone who wasn't interested in them and was just doing it just to prove a point or whatever. Like, it's unfair to everybody. I think that's why, and then those type of political issues, when they become political, are purposely misrepresented. So they're purposely misrepresented, like to say that. So if I say to you, if you will not date a trans person, you are transphobic. That creates controversy. Just the same way of saying no. It forces people to respond with like, no, this is the, this is how I identify myself. It is no trans. That is not good for me. I don't like it. And then we had this argument about an issue that I personally get frustrated that this is happening. It's the same thing with oh gosh, I just had another example, but it's the same thing with say for another, taking it off gender for a second just to make it more malleable. Say it was defunding the police. There's two sides of that, right? There's defund the police and don't. But the issue is not about taking money away from the police. It's about reallocating the resources. But they don't say that. They say defund the police because it sparks controversy. It gets people mad. And the other side will say back the blue rather than addressing anything that they're saying because they know that'll get controversy, and those things create great news and all that. I think that we lose focus of what really is being said. So in that case, it is reallocate the funds to other services that can handle things like mentally ill or whatever it might be, so the police aren't wasting their time with it and they can focus on what they're supposed to be doing, and so you don't end up with people dying. And the same way with super straight transgender, it's like you don't need to date a trans woman if you don't want to. That doesn't make you transphobic. If you don't want to, you don't want to. But if you have to feel the need to say that they're not women or that I don't accept that or whatever, then now you're judging their lives and now you're being transphobic. Does that make sense?
Okay, so this is how men feel. Like not how I felt. If you don't date a person that was born a man, that's now a woman, you are transphobic. So now our back against the wall. What the hell? A label's being put on us. Like, what do we do? Like, we're not transphobic here. Well, okay, now we're super straight. We don't do that. So it's almost like you said, hey, you're not a bad person because you don't want to date a trans person. But that wasn't the message being put forward. The message was you're transphobic if you don't date trans people. That was a whole argument. But you're saying you're not. Like it's that, but like most men felt that way that they were.
I like I said, I find it frustrating that's because that is because the thing is that what they want to get out of you too is they want you to say that you don't think trans women are women, because then they'll say transphobic. And that's the point, is to get that argument going, because that's the biggest argument on any social media today, is whether or not trans men and trans women are to be considered that sex. And of course we do have, there's one thing is the sex transsexual, then there's also transgender too, which people seem to confuse a lot too. I don't think it's productive to do that, just as I don't find, and I support defunding the police. I don't find it constructive to say defund the police as much as I find it constructive to say reallocate the funds. It's the same exact thing, but you're not going to get like a pushback the way you would with defund the police. And again, we're on social media, so you're going to be called everything, no matter what position you take. You're going to, I mean, especially having a large platform, we're going to be called whatever. I've been called sexist or racist or whatever because the commenter is an idiot. But like, I don't, like, that doesn't, I don't know. I guess like I would rather see through the bullshit, or not rather, but I just force it. I just see through the bullshit and I don't really address that. Hold on a second. Another thing that I wanted to discuss was the shit, just left my mind. Is regarding masculinity and what was it? Slipped my mind right now, but I'll let you know when I think of it. But something else about masculinity.
Yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying. You believe that men are not transphobic for not wanting to date trans women, but a lot of men felt that way. That's why that movement started. They felt victimized, finger in their face, so they had to respond with something like that. But for me, I don't need to go on TikTok and say I'm super straight. That's my preference. I wouldn't date a trans woman. I have nothing against them, but I actually have acquaintances who are trans. I see them at bars and clubs, give them a hug. We're cool, but I wouldn't, get in the bedroom with them. It's just my personal thing.
That's fine. Yeah. That's totally fine. Cool. I think that most people would. I think that I want to say it's just trolls, but like I know too, like a lot of young people on the app too, they don't really like, they're just parroting whatever they heard. I think there's a way to be transphobic. I think that it's a very clear and easy way to be transphobic with it. And there's a way to not be transphobic if you don't want to date trans people. You just don't, and that's it. I would rather normalize. Like you said, you'd rather. I guess it's a different topic because you believe that there are men that are being forced into femininity, whereas I don't.
For sure. Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say now.
Perfect.
So I don't know how much time we have. I'll make this.
I got time. Go on.
Cool. One of the things that really made me start thinking about feminism, one of the things that really changed me in how I perceive that was when I was in college. I took an anthropology class.
That's a study of humans, right?
Yes. Well, it's a study of
like
study of older cult. Yeah. It's broken up into different parts. Archaeology, paleontology. You get behavioral, cognitive anthropology. But yeah, it's a study of us specifically. And by the way, it's such a fascinating fucking class. And I'm not really like the school type too much, and I loved this topic.
Gotcha.
Because it explained a lot of things that I felt was not explained by religion to me. I don't know if you're religious. I'm not judging that either. But I'm definitely not Muslim. My family came from a Muslim country, and when they got here, they were like, "Oh, no, we're not. We're done with religion. That we saw it goes too far in our country, so we're done with religion." But that left me with a lot of things that unanswered, things I didn't really know, because people's religion tend to tell them answers to things.
True.
And so when I took anthropology, we studied 2 different types of chimpanzees. There's 2 different types. There's chimpanzee, so the class of chimpanzee, then it's also chimpanzee. Then there's chimpanzee bonobo.
Yeah. The one bonobos are having sex. I think that was okay.
Bonobos have tons of sex, a lot of sex. The chimpanzees do not. They do, but it's usually rape.
Yeah,
it's usually rape. They're very violent, far more violent than bonobos. Not to say that bonobos aren't, but they're far more violent. They're the kind that'll rip off your face. Most of their sex is forced, rape, and then they have to compete for food. The area in which they flourished in, unfortunately, was also had gorillas on the floor, so they have to hide in the trees and fight over food. And so you got a lot of these masculine tendencies come out with these chimps. And the reason we use them as an example is because they're the animal that has the most in common with us DNA-wise. Like they're 98.99% the same as us. It's just such a small fraction that's different. So being that they're the animal that's most like us, it's easy to study them and kind of see like what and how their behaviors change, because they're animals, they're not really biased. And these the more masculine chimpanzees, what they would do is they would fight and kill each other for food. If they see other tribes, they would fight and kill them. It's those masculine traits going too far. You want to be the provider, protector, but like within the society that you're in, you have these pressures of like, if I don't kill that other chimp, it's going to kill me. I have to do it. If I want to get food, I've got to like fight for that food. I have to do it. And that I see a lot of that you'll see in common with like our society today. Now, bonobos are technically a matriarchal society. They don't have competition for food. Now they're the same thing as chimpanzees. The only difference is that where they flourished, there were no gorillas, there was no competition for food. And because there wasn't, they learned to work together. And it is the society is run by females, and all they do is have sex. There's women and women having sex, men with men, men with women, group sex, whatever. And then when there's another tribe of like bonobos, rather than go kill them for food, they go have sex with them. And then they grow their colony. They are able to work together. When they like took a couple of these chimps from the wild, they put them in cages, and then they put like different tasks in front of them where they would both have to work together to get to the food. And the chimps wouldn't do it. They just kept pulling the thing towards themselves. If there was a test of like, there's like a peanut on a collapsing platform, and the other monkey went to get it, they wouldn't let that monkey get it. They would keep pulling. They give him a string, and they taught him that if you pull it, it releases the platform. And I've saved a bunch of these videos for my class because I thought they were so educational. But bonobos would work together. They would constantly, because and then really all I see is a difference between cooperation and competition. And that's what I see really in the difference between matriarchy and patriarchy. And I don't get too specific with like the definitions of feminism or the definitions of like modern feminism or third wave, second wave, because I look at it in very simple terms in which it is, can we work together? And if we can, we should, because cooperation breeds innovation, not competition. Competition stifles each other, or that we may be looking for the most gain, and so we may not be looking towards like quality and stuff like that. And that literally applies to everything, to me. And so when I see that like we're pushing too hard on the masculine, I worry that we're just going straight towards what we know the inevitability of too far with that is, which is violence, or this competition with each other that we talked about in the beginning of this, that society's forcing on us. Like we are victims of toxic masculinity. I don't think that we're like, I think we're only perpetuators of it because we're victims as well. Unfortunately, women have to be victims of that too, because they live in society with us. But I can't say when the peak of it is, because to me, it's so inconsistent. Now with femininity and with matriarchy, it's like that. If matriarchy doesn't exist, women are not in power. But the more they are put on the same level as men, it benefits us more. And that the one thing I never understood about incels, about what they think, is that you can get more sex if you don't have to be like the nice guy, but literally just give women more power, give them more equal to us, and you will benefit from that too, just the same way that we could benefit and suffer from from patriarchy. We could also benefit from patriarchy too.
Got you. Yeah. Listening to a podcast, Fresh and Fit, and these aren't my words, I'm just regurgitating what he said. He said from the beginning, like almost every single great civilization we've ever studied have been a man in charge. And he said that when there was women in charge of a place, the men came and ransacked it, killed everybody. What's your opinion on that guy's take of men are better leaders? And that's why that's why they're all in our history books and not maybe like 2 or 3 women. What's your response to a guy like that?
No, I think that comes from our Neanderthal Cro-Magnon days of dragging women by their hair and forcing them to do whatever. That doesn't surprise me that a woman would start building a society and a man would just come ransack through it. That's kind of the problem. But then again, you will look at this and say, well, every conquered society has been conquered by a man, but then those civilizations were also, their downfall was due to men as well. It's hand in hand. One of the things that like you could look at is, like, you've seen the movie 300.
Oh yeah.
The Spartans were the most masculine men to have ever existed. If you want to talk about peak of masculinity at its definition, it would be the Spartans. Spartans would, if you're a kid, you start your like blood battles, and if you fail, you're a dead kid. Like only the strongest made it to adulthood. Yeah. And this society was the most. I listened to a podcast on it called it's called Hardcore History, and this one was called King of Kings. And the Persian Empire had built this, like, the first human rights like campaign ever. They got rid of slavery for the first time, and of course it was also run by a man. And then when they went to go to the Spartans, and what they would do is they would reach other countries, let them have their country. They wouldn't enslave or kill the king. You still run this area, but you're part of us now. And for many countries back then, that was like, well, thank God they're not going to steamroll me. But then you had, what is now modern Italy now. They were like, no, you're not doing that shit here. You're not doing that here. And Sparta was one of the most famous ones that stood up to the Persian Empire. And their thing was, I want to say, clouded by masculinity, in that, like, I don't want to give in. I don't want to be like submissive to you. But guess what? They all died. All of them were slaughtered dead. And like you could be as manly as you want, but you're like you're ashes now. Like you're nothing now. And everything else went on without you. And I think that it would have been really dangerous had the Spartans win, and that kind of psychology affected like the rest of humanity moving forward, because that's unfortunately all these things that happened back in time. That's when we were people that we had to compete. We were killing each other. We were just as, dumb as the chimps. It was necessary to survive. Well, it's not necessary anymore, and I don't see the benefit in going back to something like that. So I think it's good to learn from the past. I mean, you look in the past, and almost every society had slaves too. It's not something that we necessarily want to replicate or think that is positive in any way. Just because we did something in the past doesn't mean we necessarily have to value that at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I feel like we definitely trying to see what time. We started like 9:10. Okay, about 11 o'clock. Yeah, man. I feel like that we definitely covered a lot of different topics today, and I feel like we did a good job of staying respectful to one another. I was
Absolutely.
I was worried that things would get out of hand, but they didn't.
No.
Thank you for coming on the show and being
Thank
respectful. You. And I feel like I'm gonna go look up just do more research and just keep learning more and more and more as I can, because I genuinely don't want men to hate women. Like I freaking in love with women. I don't want men to do any of the things that women accuse me of in my comment section. That's not what the page is for. And I'm glad you were able to have a discussion, because sometimes when people do come for me, I ask them to come on the show and they just don't even respond. But thank you for coming on and being, and say, hey, I'll talk to them. And I love how in the comment section of that video, girls like, oh, I can't wait for this. Well, hey, yeah, here it is. You got your show, ladies and gentlemen. And it probably wasn't what they were expecting either,
Yeah. I had no intention to come demolish you or like try to fight you. I had no intention of that. I told you that when we talked about it. I wanted to come on the show. I wanted to talk about these topics, and I'm glad I did, and I did appreciate it. And it was a nice conversation. I would be happy to ever come on again and talk about it.
Absolutely.
Anything like that. I think that what you're doing has value. I think obviously I disagree with the methods and stuff of it, but I think that one thing I admire is how you said, I want to do more study on it. I'm the same way. I don't talk about things if I haven't looked into it, if I don't know this, I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to look like an idiot.
True.
So I think it's very admirable to say I'm going to go take a look at that, because that's what we should all be doing with literally any subject we don't know about.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate
it. My pleasure. Yeah, of course. Real quick, plug yourself. Where can they find you?
Oh yeah, I am that Donish guy on TikTok. I am a comedian. I mostly do sketches, but the only thing that seems to get a lot of views is when I go after apparently child abusers. So that's my thing by force. So I tend to do that a lot, but most of the time it's just stupid comedy sketches.
Absolutely. Thanks for on the show, Donish, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.